Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the business edition with just a tiny bit of Sillyville. Sorry guys, there really wasn't a lot of silly news this week, but anyway, let's go ahead and start in with the greatest news that I've seen all week, and that is that Discord has walked away from buyout talks with Microsoft. It might consider an IPO instead. I did say, and I would follow through, that if Microsoft bought Discord, I would delete my Discord account. The channel might survive under the hands of somebody else. I won't have anything to do with it. I just don't want anything to do with Microsoft. I don't care to boycott the company. I'm just not, no, it's not for me. Not for me. But anyway, this was, they were in talks, some discussion. Discord might be doing either an IPO or, you know, field a few possible offers, see if somebody has them. You know, that'd be okay. But I'm very pleased to see that they did walk away from the Microsoft deal. So that is good news. Another update, the union says that Amazon threatened layoffs in the formal objection to the election results. So, of course, Amazon had a union vote and it failed there, but they basically came back and said Amazon threatened them. They threatened layoffs. They threatened to close the factory. Basically, if a union was going to happen, it was just going to be terminate that one, move on to the next one. And so there's the union case with Amazon is not yet closed. That is what your updates happen to be. And we have another Tesla crash. Yes, this was a Tesla car. You can kind of see the outlines of the seats here and the steel beams and not much else. So they said no one was driving the car. 2 men were dead after a fiery Tesla crash. Of course, Musk said, oh no, we don't think autopilot was on. Well, if autopilot wasn't on, the police who were there said no one was driving the car. Who knows? Making out in the back seat, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, let's just cut out the middleman. Let the car drive home, and we'll just take care of business now. Why not, right? But it did cause a crash, burned into an Inferno, and then this is what's left of the Tesla. There we have it, guys. Whoops! It didn't self-drive right. So a couple people are dead, but this is why we need to ban the use of this technology on public roads. I don't want to be caught up in a Tesla incident because they're experimenting on beta software on public roads. No. You got the money, go build a test course somewhere and test all you want out there. That's perfectly fine, but stay off my public roads. I'm more cautious when I see Teslas. You know, because they have a tendency to ram into things. I don't know. A recent Windows 10 security update borks gaming with unstable frame rates, boot loops, and more. How exciting. And so, you know, this one here forces the updates, and yeah, there you go. If you haven't installed the latest monthly cumulative patch Windows, you might want to pause on updates for a few weeks. Microsoft has released a large number of important security fixes for Windows and other software products, but has also broken more things. Have we gotten a Windows update lately that hasn't broken anything? This should be like the monthly news cycle. What has Windows broken this month? You know, why month instead of weekly? Because they patch Tuesday. Come on, it's just what, the second Tuesday of the month, I think it is. I don't know, but anyway, your Windows is doing things. On the positive side, Windows now enables Linux GUI apps on Windows 10 for developers. So this is part of the Windows subset for Linux type stuff. Microsoft is starting to allow Windows 10 testers to access GUI Linux apps. They're utilizing an emulated X server is what they're doing. I believe it can also emulate Wayland as well, if I remember. So without, let's see, enabled, this is all enabled without Windows having to use X11 forward, and without users having to manually start an X server. They automatically starts a companion system when you attempt to run a Linux GUI app. It contains Wayland, X server, Pulse audio server, and everything else you need to make this inside Windows. Once you terminate the app and Windows subset for Linux, is it Windows subset for Linux, I think is WSL, then this distro ends too. All of these components combined will make it super easy to run Linux GUI apps alongside regular Windows apps. There we have it. I'd rather just run the Linux apps and then deal with Wine on Linux. That's how I would do it, but hey, whatever. Samsung has probably the stupidest new program. They're calling it's the official smartphone upcycling program. You know what the upselling program happens to be? It's nothing more than this. It is nothing more than this. Take your phone, install an app on it, and set it somewhere, and it will turn into a smart camera for you. Thank you, genius. That's not a program. That's just an app. But anyway, users can try the beta program to repurpose an old device. Translation, we don't really want you to save any money by trading in your old one. And, we just want to kill the after sales market so more people are forced to buy one. So you can take your old device and have a pithy new thing with it, because that's it. So there we have it. There's a child care tool with a sound sensor. Ooh. The monitor can alert your other newer phones. Okay. Your pet care solution. Ooh, pet care solution. When it starts having lasers out and filming the kitty playing with the lasers, then maybe I'll be interesting. The light changed. Oh, really? Thank you for telling me that the light changed, phone. That's an interesting information. So this is called the upcycle. This is just installing an app on the phone. I guess. Whatever. Well, Apple, it has been rumored and speculated that Apple is working on an ad system. And indeed, Apple is going to, more evidence of this came out. So Apple boosts an ad business as iPhone changes hurt Facebook. So there were ads in the App Store. Now there's going to be ads in, I think it's just one other spot in the App Store. But what it's showing is that Apple is starting to collect and serve and test ad systems inside their App Store. How long before this moves out of the App Store into other places? That is what some of the questions have to be, because this is what people have speculated has been going on for a while. And now they're taking aim at Facebook and Google and other apps, collecting data so that they can actually minimize the amount of data that is going out to other systems. And so with all that, that's kind of what Apple's up to. It's just something to watch for now. And now on for the chief story here. Why was the University of Minnesota why did they get banned from contributing to the Linux kernel? All right, this is the modern, and then the doctoral student who came down, on this. This is just reminiscent of this millennial whiny bratting. Yeah, whole world's against me. Oh, go grow a backbone, you moron. So when you're doing scientific studies, if other groups are involved, you actually have to get authorization. It's actually a part of the law, okay? In all of the science research we did, even to do our animal studies that I did in my doctoral work, we had to get even approval for just animal studies. And we're just talking lab mice. We had to get approval for those. That's why we did a lot of the preliminary things. And science in general does a lot of preliminary things called in vitro. Basically growing cells in a test tube and see what happens with the cells. And then you move in vivo into the animal models. And then you move from primary animals, more primitive animals, up into complicated animals. And then eventually you can do human clinical trials. Well, these guys have forgotten that when other people are involved in the experiment, they kind of have to consent. And what happened here, and this article here from its FOSS has pretty much the whole line of data. So it started with a PhD project that wanted to see if vulnerabilities could be easily introduced into the Linux kernel, into any operating kernel, and they chose Linux YGPL, I guess. So what happened is they submit a really small patch. Let's click OK on that. All right. They submit a really small patch into the system. The patch was simple and seemed to improve code quality. It got the green light from a couple of members initially, but then got questioned by Eric Dumont on the April 9th. On the 19th, when the veteran kernel contributor Alviro rebuked the contributor for submitting a fix that does not fix anything, And at this point, he points out two possibilities for such garbage code. Plainly put, the patch demonstrates either complete lack of understanding or somebody not acting in good faith. If it's the latter, may I suggest the esteemed psychologists to beep off and stop testing the reviewers with deliberately spewed excrements. Now, if you feel he used too strong of words, there is a reason and history behind it. So what happened is the research paper, the title of the research paper is Stealthily Introducing Vulnerabilities in Open Source Software via Hypocrite Commits. That is the actual paper name. So these guys were trying to do a live experiment on the Linux kernel as part of scientific research to see if you could introduce vulnerabilities. What? Fortunately, the Linux developers are good at what they do, and they were unsuccessful. So that was the research paper. Researchers were testing the feasibility of introducing vulnerabilities using what are called hypocrite commits. In other words, seemingly beneficial commits that introduced other critical issues. They chose the Linux kernel project to carry them out because, yeah, they would probably be visited by the Gestapo if they tried it in anything else, except maybe BSD or something. So they found, Alviro found the patch, the useless patch from Adida. I'm sorry, guys, if I do not get these names correct, from Paki, and was likely as part of the research. Greg Hartman, the second in command of the kernel project after Linus Torvalds, advised not to waste the kernel maintainer's time in such patches. That's really what they were doing. Hey, let's do an unauthorized experiment involved in a live project that runs 90% of the world. So they said, please stop submitting known invalid patches. Your professor is playing around with the review process in order to achieve a paper in some strange and bizarre way. This is not okay. It is wasting our time, and we will have to report this again to your university. So they have apparently a history of doing this. Apparently it was not the only troublesome patch. Leon Romanowski noted there were 3 more such patches from the same researcher. What's the story here? Those commits are part of the following research. They introduced kernel bugs on purpose. Yesterday, I took a look at 4 accepted patches. 3 of them added various severity security holes. Due to the public bashing, the university researcher tried to play victim. This is what the graduate student wrote. This is my justification for saying a whiny millennial moron. The whole world's against me. Listen to this response. I respectfully ask to cease and desist for making wild accusations that are bordering on slander. I want the manager. My name's Karen. These patches were sent as part of a new statistic analyzer that I wrote. I wrote it. This is why we don't want to go. Never mind. I won't open that can of worms. I wrote, and its sensitivity is obviously not that great. I sent patches on the hopes to get feedback. We are not experiments in the Linux kernel, and repeatedly making these statements is disgusting to hear. Oh, it's so vile. Obviously, it's a wrong step, but your preconceived biases are so strong, you might make accusations without merit or give benefit of the doubt. No, we don't want to give benefit of the doubt to intentionally putting bad stuff inside of the Linux code. What type of special moron are you? Please leave with your masters and be done with it. I will not be sending any more patches due to the attitude that is not only unwelcome, but is also intimidating. This irked Greg to the extent that he stated he will now have to ban all future contributions from your university and rip out your previous contributions as they were obviously submitted in bad faith. And that, folks, is how an entire university is now blacklisted. Nobody from the University of Minnesota can submit anything to the Linux kernel because of a whiny millennial. Yeah. And this is actually, it'll be hard to read on this. Actually, I think I can click this. There we go. You and your group have publicly admitted to sending known buggy patches to see how the kernel community would react to them and published a paper based on your work. Now you submit a series of obviously incorrect patches again, so what am I supposed to think of such a thing? They obviously were not created by a statistical analysis tool that is of any intelligence, as they are the result of a totally different patterns, all of which are obviously not even fixing anything at all. So what am I supposed to think here? Other than that, you and your group are continuing to experiment on the kernel community developers by sending such nonsense patches. When submitting patches created by a tool, everyone who does so submits them with wording like found by tool XXX. We're not sure if this is correct or not. Please advise, which is not what you did here at all. You are not asking for help. You are claiming these were legitimate fixes in which you knew to be incorrect. A few minutes with anyone on the semblance of knowledge of C can see that your submissions do not do anything at all, so as to think that a tool created them and then that you thought they were valid fix is totally negligent on your part, not ours. You're the one at fault. It is not our job to be the test subjects of a tool you create. Our community welcomes developers who wish to help and enhance Linux. That is not what you're attempting to do here, so please do not try to frame it that way. Our community does not appreciate being experimented on and being tested by submitting known patches that are either do nothing on purpose or introduce a bug on purpose. If you wish to do work like this, I suggest you find a different community to run your experiments on. You are not welcome here. Because of this, I will now have to ban all future contributions from your university and rip out your previous contributions, as they were obviously submitted in bad faith with the intent to cause problems. All right. And finally, we get, of course, we have that, of course, and we actually get an update. Let's see, a lot of this is the same thing. This is actually the update from the head of the computer science and engineering part at MNU. The University of Minnesota Department of Computer Science and Engineering today learned about the details of research being conducted by one of its faculty members and graduate students into the security of Linux kernel. The research method used raised serious concerns in the Linux community, and as of today has been resulted in the university in being banned from contributing to the Linux kernel. We take this situation extremely seriously. We have immediately suspended this line of research. We will investigate the research method and the process by which the research was approved, determine appropriate remedial action, and safeguard against future issues if needed. We will report our findings back to the community as soon as it is practical. Wow. So there you go, guys. There's how you get banned from an entire, how you get your whole university banned. Oh boy. Bottom line, guys, the Linux kernel community, they kind of know what they're doing. This is good stuff. Okay. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, you can help, you can find a, credit over on Linode using our affiliate link. This will help our channel out and will give you $100 of credit to try. You have 60 days to spin up as many Linodes as you want. These are individual servers. You can run whole websites on them. You can run apps like VPNs or Nextcloud or Jitsi. I've done all that. And really it works out well. tlm.li/Linode. Have a look over there. And now let's have a look at just a couple of brief Sillyville articles. All right, just a couple Sillyville articles, and neither one of them are really good. There was really no silly news this week that I was able to track down, so sorry about that, guys. But Apple will not engrave offensive messages on your new AirTag. Apparently, they're not fond of toilet humor. There's a few things like you could do emojis. You're not allowed to do an emoji that has a picture of a horse and then the poo icon, but you can do the emoji, then the horse, I think. And so basically you can jump over to the personalization option and you control the thing and see what you want. So please submit your engraving message personalization with your initials, whatever. So if you try and do horse and the pooey icon, so obviously this is a bunch of, I wish there were a bowl in there too. But anyway, if you try and do that, they're like, no, we won't do that. So why not, Apple? It's my device. I'm paying a lot of money for it. Why can't you let me have whatever message I want on there? That's calmer than most things people will want to put on there anyway. But anyway, I guess that's okay. Nothing wrong, I guess, with getting your thing, going to your own favorite engraver and doing it yourself. And then finally, there are now some ransomware payments that are now asking for Discord Nitro gift codes. So we've locked up all your stuff until you give us a free month of Discord. Okay. Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb. But anyway, there you go. I guess it's $10. Novel approach to ransom demands. New ransomware calling itself Nitro ransomware encrypts victims' files, then demands a Discord Nitro gift code to decrypt them. When Discord is free, they offer Nitro. While it's free, they offer Nitro subscription add-ons, $9.99 a month, that provides additional perks such as larger uploads, HD video streaming, enhanced emojis, and the ability to boost your favorite server. All right, so yeah, apparently, okay, I guess they, bad, give me, there you go. Yeah, I guess you get to decrypt everything, and then you have your time remaining. Give us a Discord thing. That's fine. I'll just wipe that computer and just reinstall it with something else. I got lots of stuff laying around. Well, another way you can help support the channel, you can have a look over at Subscribestar. We are on Subscribestar/switchedtolinux. You can jump in over there if you want to help support the channel with that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.